Okay, so now what I'm going to do is teach you some of the other techniques in here as far as your texture brush. What do you start now looking at it and what do you use it for? Texturing is one of those things that you use it sparingly. Don't over texture something, because a thing you have to imagine is a thing called depth of field. Depth of field states that everything in the foreground becomes sharp if you're staring at the foreground. If you're staring at midground, that becomes sharp because you're staring at midground. So let's take this for example. This might be in the foreground. This might be way forward, and he might be curved around and then back again. So this might start going off into the distance. So I don't know that. I mean, it looks like that, but who's to tell how far this is going back into space? Well, I can define that by using textures. So what I'll do is start taking my texture brush in here and concepting some of these areas. Again, this is only just putting some kind of really detailed texture in. It is just a bunch of dots, but nobody will see that until they zoom in on it. And then I'll probably go in here with blend with texture, and what I'll do is start defining areas that are not in the foreground. So I'll start pushing this stuff around. And I'll start doing this anyway because it becomes boring if you don't. It's something you have to do. Just start blending in stuff, and you start developing this layer system of textures on top of detail, on top of textures, on top of detail, and it soon becomes very, 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 very cool. Starting to see things take shape too when I start putting texture in, like defining regions. Now, how much detail you put in is up to you. Like, I could be zoomed way in here, and I could start putting some detail in. Like on the leg area. Just like that. And when I zoom back out, amazing. Okay, now, cleaning up areas. Like, if I zoom way in now and then start to apply a different kind of look to this. God, I don't know how these keep getting a linear burn, but there we go. Always paint with normal, never paint with linear burn. So what I mean by defining these is now with me zoomed in, I can really go in here and cut back these shapes. And since this is a kind of arachnid type creature, I would say that their shell is pretty hard. Therefore, I can get away with actually making these lines a hard edge. That's an important concept to start getting accustomed to, is the fact that you have a hard edge brush and a soft edge brush. When do you use a hard edge brush compared to a soft edge brush? In this case, hard edge because the creature actually has some exoskeleton on the outside of the body. Okay? And that's only me telling myself that it does have an exoskeleton on the outside of its body. If it doesn't have an exoskeleton and it has, some kind of soft feel to it, sometimes I'll take the soft edge brush and go in here and just go over top of the edges. This will soften it, make it look like it's going into the background some. Alright, so more in the next video. Sorry, I only have 10 minutes for video, as I said.